So when you see Scott now, your son, he looks so much like you. Is it weird to look at him?
I'm in the inward looking outward. I'm not looking back inward.
At 94, Clint Eastwood, Hollywood's iconic tough guy known for his silent strength, is breaking decades of silence. For years, fans have speculated about the rift between him and his son, a painful distance shrouded in mystery and unspoken words. Now, in an unexpected and deeply personal revelation, Clint finally opens up about why he disowned his son. But what truths lie behind this long-guarded family fracture? Stay with us as we uncover the heartfelt story behind one of Hollywood's most guarded relationships. From Western star to Hollywood legend, Clint Eastwood's rise to fame is a story of steady grit and unforgettable roles. His acting career took off in the 1950s, but it wasn't until 1959 that he caught the public's eye with the TV series Rawhide. Set in the Old West, the show introduced audiences to Eastwood's quiet but magnetic presence. This role was his breakthrough, opening doors to a new world of opportunity.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Jenny Lind. Well, she asked that I sing one of her all-time favorite type songs.
In the mid-1960s, Clint skyrocketed to international fame through the Dollars trilogy, a series of spaghetti westerns directed by Sergio Leone. Playing the mysterious man with no name, Clint didn't need many words. His silent intensity spoke volumes, captivating viewers around the globe. The 1970s and 1980s saw Eastwood transform into an emblem of toughness with the Dirty Harry films. Portraying a relentless cop who played by his own rules, Clint became synonymous with strength and raw masculinity. But his talents stretched beyond just playing the badasses. He found success in lighter roles too, like in Every Which Way But Loose 1978 and its sequel Any Which Way You Can 1980, which showed his ability to mix humor and action with ease. Eastwood's impact on Hollywood wasn't limited to acting. In 1986, he surprised many by stepping into politics, winning the mayoral seat of Carmel by the Sea, California. For 2 years, he served as mayor, showing a different kind of leadership away from the cameras. His long list of memorable films also includes Hang 'em High in 1968, The Outlaw, Josie Wales in 1976, Pale Rider in 1985, Where Eagles Dare in 1968, Escape from Alcatraz in 1979, Heartbreak Ridge in 1982, in 1986, In the Line of Fire in 1993, and The Bridges of Madison County in 1995. Even into his later years, Clint remained active in Hollywood, starring in and directing films like Gran Torino in 2008, The Mule in 2018, and Cry Macho in 2023. Behind the camera, Eastwood proved his skills as a director and producer. His company, Malpaso Productions, has been responsible for producing nearly all his American films since 1967. His directing achievements earned him Oscars for Unforgiven 1992 and Million Dollar Baby 2004, both of which won Best Director and Best Picture. He also directed critically acclaimed films like Mystic River 2003, Letters from Iwo Jima 2006, and J. Edgar 2011, as well as Changeling 2008, Invictus 2009, American Sniper 2014, Sully 2016, and Richard Jewell 2019. Clint's immense contributions to film earned him numerous honors: 4 Academy Awards, 4 Golden Globes, 3 César Awards, and the prestigious American Film Institute Life Achievement Award in 2000. Internationally, he was celebrated with the Golden Lion Award at the Venice Film Festival, the Commander of the Order of Arts and Letters in France in 1994, and the Legion of Honor in 2007. Yet while Eastwood's career flourished, his personal life was often filled with complexities and challenges that rarely made headlines. But what hidden struggles shadow Clint Eastwood's legendary career? Stay tuned as we uncover the untold story. Clint Eastwood's complex personal life. While Clint Eastwood's career dazzled millions, his personal life remained private and deeply complicated. Known for being a man of few words on screen, off-screen, he lived a tangled web of relationships and secrets that often stayed far from public view. Clint was married twice, but had numerous relationships that overlapped and lasted for varying lengths of time. What's even more intriguing is that he fathered at least 8 children with 6 different women, though he never confirmed the exact number. Clint once explained, "They're vulnerable people. I can protect myself, but they can't." His biographer, Patrick McGilligan, even suggested that the true count of Eastwood's children might never be known, mentioning a child born while Clint was still in high school. Eastwood's first marriage was to Margaret Neville Johnson in December 1953, after meeting on a blind date earlier that year. However, even during their courtship, Clint had an affair that resulted in a daughter named Lori, born in 1954. Lori was later adopted by a couple in Seattle, and the identity of her mother, said to be involved in a theater group Clint worked with, was kept secret. Throughout his marriage to Johnson, Clint continued having affairs. One of the longest-lasting was with stuntwoman Roxanne Tunis, who remained a close friend until her passing in 2023. Together, they had a daughter named Kimber in 1964. Despite these challenges, Clint and Margaret Johnson stayed married for decades and had 2 children of their own, Kyle, born in 1968, and Allison, born in 1972. Yet their marriage was far from stable. In 1975, Clint began living with actress and director Sandra Locke, who was herself married to a man but in a marriage of convenience. Her husband was homosexual and unemployed. Sandra once said Clint told her she made me monogamous, and even claimed Clint said he had never been in love before meeting her. It wasn't until 1984 that Clint divorced Margaret Johnson. Meanwhile, Sandra Locke remained married to her husband until she died in 2018. Bill Brown, a publisher from Carmel by the Sea, once described Sandra as the love of Clint's life. Yet, Clint never publicly spoke about her passing. The layers of Clint Eastwood's personal life reveal a man whose private world was as complex as the characters he portrayed on screen. But what secrets lie behind Clint Eastwood's tangled love life? Keep watching as we reveal the untold truth, the hidden side of Clint Eastwood's family. During Clint Eastwood's years with Sandra Locke, another secret relationship quietly unfolded. He was involved with Jasleen Reeves, a flight attendant, and together they had 2 children, Scott, born in 1986, and Catherine, born in 1988. At the time, neither child was officially linked to Clint as their legal father, keeping this chapter of his life tightly under wraps. When Clint and Sandra Locke separated in 1989, she took legal action, filing a palimony suit and later accusing him of fraud. Both cases were quietly settled, adding another layer of secrecy to Eastwood's private affairs. In the 1990s, Clint's love life continued to draw attention. He dated actress Frances Fisher, and they had a daughter, Francesca, in 1993. Then, in 1996, Clint married news anchor Dina Ruiz. Their daughter Morgan was born that same year, marking Clint's second marriage. This union lasted until 2014, making it one of his longest relationships. Following his divorce from Ruiz, Clint was often seen with Christina Sandera, a restaurant hostess. Although they never publicly confirmed their relationship, they appeared together frequently in public. Sadly, Christina passed away from a heart attack in July 2024 at the age of 61. Later that year, Clint was spotted with a new companion, but details about her remain unknown. Clint himself, along with his spokespeople and managers, has remained silent on his personal life, keeping fans guessing. Clint Eastwood's world is a fascinating mix of public glory, filled with awards, iconic roles, and fame, and private mystery, marked by secrets, silence, and hidden relationships. Yet the most puzzling and captivating story in Clint's personal life revolves around his role as a father, especially his complicated relationship with his son, Scott Eastwood. But what secrets haunt Clint Eastwood's family ties, especially with his son Scott? Stay with us to uncover the truth, growing up in the shadow of a legend. Scott Clinton Reeves, known today as Scott Eastwood, was born into a family full of complexity and secrecy. He arrived on March 21, 1986, at the Community Hospital of the Monterey Peninsula in California. His mother, Jasleen Reeves, worked as a flight attendant, and his father was none other than the legendary actor and director Clint Eastwood. However, their connection was kept out of the spotlight for many years. Scott has a full sister, Catherine, born in 1988, and 6 half-siblings from Clint's other relationships: Lori, Kimber, Kyle, Allison, Francesca, and Morgan. Scott's early childhood was spent in Carmel by the Sea, California, until he was about 10 years old. After that, he moved to Hawaii with his mother, where he lived for around 4 years before returning to California. He completed his education at Carmel High School and went on to study communications at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles, graduating in 2008. Unlike many children of Hollywood stars, Scott's life wasn't marked by luxury or easy access to fame. Despite Clint's wealth and success, Scott was expected to earn his way. Their relationship was distant for much of Scott's youth. The silence around their bond was symbolized by one revealing detail. Scott's birth certificate did not list Clint as his father. Instead, it simply said, "Father declined," highlighting how private and strained their early connection was. Clint's affair with Jasleen Reeves lasted several years, but ended in 1990 when Scott was just 4 years old. Although Scott spent some time with his father as he grew up, there was no special treatment or privilege. In a 2017 interview with Men's Health, Scott shared, "My dad never gave me a cent. He made me work for everything." This tough love approach shaped Scott's upbringing, demanding hard work and self-reliance. But family challenges were only part of Scott's story. His life would later face even darker struggles, revealing just how difficult his path truly was. But what challenges shaped Scott Eastwood's life beyond fame? Keep watching as we reveal his hidden struggles. Breaking away from the shadow of his name. Even though he was the son of one of Hollywood's biggest legends, Scott Eastwood didn't take the easy road. For years, he didn't even use the Eastwood name. Instead, he went by his mother's last name, Reeves. That's the name he used at auditions, choosing to carve his path rather than ride on the coattails of his father's fame. Ironically, there was already an actor named Scott Reeves, but Scott didn't mind. He was focused on building something that was truly his. He once told Men's Journal that he only started using the Eastwood name in 2008, after he had already done some work in the industry and earned a bit of credibility. "I just thought, this is silly. If I'm doing this, I've got to carry on the Eastwood name," he said in a 2015 interview with Nylon. Still, having a famous last name didn't mean doors magically opened. Scott took on all sorts of odd jobs, parking cars, doing construction, just to stay afloat while chasing roles in a tough industry. Even though Hollywood recognized the Eastwood name, Clint didn't pull strings for him. Scott auditioned for several of his father's films, only to be turned down, including for the 2014 war drama American Sniper. Clint was known to be a tough but fair man, and he didn't believe in giving his son any handouts. Scott understood this and respected it. His first real breaks came in small parts in Gran Torino and Invictus, both directed by Clint Eastwood. They were minor roles, but stepping stones nonetheless. Scott's bigger moments came later, with standout performances in The Longest Ride, Fury, and a memorable appearance in Taylor Swift's Wildest Dreams music video. He later landed roles in blockbuster hits like Suicide Squad, The Fate of the Furious, and Pacific Rim Uprising. Despite his growing list of credits, many still labeled him an overnight success, but Scott was quick to correct them. "It's the furthest thing from the truth," he said. "It takes a long time to find your way." But what made Scott Eastwood reject his famous last name at first? Stay glued to uncover the surprising reason. Finding his own spotlight. Scott Eastwood's journey to fame was anything but handed to him. Even after appearing in smaller roles in his father's earlier films, when the chance to land a major role in American Sniper came in 2014, he thought maybe, just maybe, was his moment. Clint Eastwood was directing the powerful war drama based on Navy SEAL Chris Kyle's life. Scott auditioned for the part of Jeff Kyle, Chris's brother, with high hopes and a strong resume he had built through his sweat and hustle. But once again, the role slipped through his fingers, going instead to Australian actor Keir O'Donnell. The rejection hurt, but Scott didn't let it break him. Instead, he used it as fuel. In a later interview, he chuckled about it, saying, "I auditioned for American Sniper and didn't get a role." Beneath the laugh, though, was clear determination. That same year, a new door opened. He was cast as the lead in The Longest Ride, a romantic drama based on Nicholas Sparks's novel. Looking back, Scott believed the setback with American Sniper led him to exactly where he needed to be. "I would have loved to be part of American Sniper, but then I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do this film," he said. From 2015 onward, his career took a different turn, one that was entirely his own. He no longer needed to ride on the Eastwood name. Roles in big productions like Suicide Squad, The Fate of the Furious, Wrath of Man, and Pacific Rim. Uprising followed. Yet the whispers never really stopped. Some critics still claimed he was getting by on family ties. Scott pushed back, saying, "It doesn't work like that. He can't just pick up the phone and say, 'Cast my son.'" But behind all the headlines and auditions, one mystery still lingered: the true nature of Scott's relationship with his famous father. Was it strained? Was it close? In 2016, a rare joint interview between Clint and Scott in Esquire finally offered a glimpse into their complicated bond. But what did that rare father-son interview finally reveal about their secretive bond? Stay tuned to find out. Father, mentor, legend. That Esquire interview in 2016 peeled back the curtain on a relationship that had long been shrouded in mystery. Sitting side by side, Clint Eastwood and his son Scott finally let the world see more than just headlines and film credits. They revealed a dynamic that was as tough as it was transformative. Scott didn't sugarcoat their past. "I lived with my mom in Hawaii until I pissed her off, and then I came to live with my dad and pissed him off," he joked, grinning. It was the kind of line that said everything.
First of all, what is it like being Clint Eastwood's son and also being a movie star yourself? That's got to be weird.
It's like there's a wealth of knowledge in Fort Knox, and you're trying to just like pull little slivers out when you speak to him.
Humor masking the weight of a complicated family history. Clint, now in his 80s, just smiled and nodded. "He was a pretty good kid," he said, before giving credit to Scott's mother, Jocelyn Reeves. "She's a good person, gave him a lot of values." It was a rare moment of public respect for a woman Clint had once shared a quiet, secretive relationship with. Scott described his dad as old school. He meant the kind of parenting where respect, discipline, and showing up on time were non-negotiable. There were no handouts, not even when the Hollywood doors were swinging open for others. "He made me work for everything," Scott said, And it wasn't just words. He auditioned for Clint's films and often didn't get the part. Even American Sniper slipped through his fingers. Still, Clint had his eye on him. He always came in and did a good job, the elder Eastwood admitted. And now, as Scott's star was beginning to shine brighter, Clint joked, "Now the chicks are calling and asking where Scott is." "They used to ask where I was." Scott laughed. "I'll take you out to the bar with me. It'll be fun." Something was endearing in their back and forth, two generations of Eastwoods, tough but bonded. And though Clint had built an empire, he made sure Scott learned how to build his own. Scott summed it up with a shrug and a grin. "I'm just a kid in this business." But what hard truths did Scott Eastwood uncover while trying to earn his father's respect? Stay tuned to find out. The Eastwood Way. As Scott Eastwood's journey through Hollywood continued, he started to see things from a different angle, literally. While most actors were focused on memorizing lines and hitting marks, Scott found himself watching the people behind the camera just as much as those in front of it. It was something he picked up from Clint, a habit his father had started way back in the 1950s when he was just a contract player at Universal Studios. Clint had once told him, "Film is a director's medium. If you're not creating your material, you're just waiting for scraps." That message hit home. Even during his early days of acting, Clint didn't spend his downtime relaxing in trailers. Instead, he stayed on set, watching the crew, the camera operators, the directors, anyone he could learn from. On his days off, which were often, he wandered onto other sets just to observe. That curiosity is what transformed Clint from a small-role actor into a powerhouse director. Scott took that advice seriously. During his time filming The Fate of the Furious, he didn't rush off after takes. Instead, he stayed close to the crew, asking questions, paying attention to every movement behind the scenes. He watched how sets were lit, how scenes were blocked, how directors handled pressure. This wasn't just about acting anymore. Scott was learning the whole craft. He remembered another line his dad had given him: "Never stop learning, growing, evolving, and embracing new challenges." It wasn't about chasing fame. It was about chasing growth. That's how Clint built his name, by staying curious, by showing up, by being the guy who never left the set. And now, it was Scott's turn to do the same. When asked how he planned to step out of his father's towering shadow, Scott smiled and said, "I just do what he does. Keep moving forward, no matter the challenges you face." But what surprising lesson did Scott Eastwood learn behind the camera that changed everything? Stick around to find out. Still his father's son. Always grow, always evolve. That was the lesson Scott Eastwood carried with him long after the cameras stopped rolling. And as his career grew, so did his understanding of the man who shaped much of that wisdom. His father, Clint Eastwood. Though Scott is now building a career of his own, he never hesitates to give credit where it's due. Their story, however, isn't the typical Hollywood father-son narrative. Instead, it's marked by long stretches of silence, physical and emotional distance, and a slow, hard-earned respect. Raised primarily by his mother, flight attendant Jocelyn Reeves, Scott spent much of his childhood disconnected from the Eastwood name. It wasn't until 2002, when Scott was already in his mid-teens, that Clint publicly acknowledged him as his son, a moment that quietly changed everything. Today, their connection seems more solid than ever before. In 2024, during a candid interview, Scott spoke warmly about his father, calling Clint not just a legendary actor and director, but a true inspiration.
Speaking to my dad, yeah, well, that was, back in the 60s, I was with Frank Sinatra at that place at the time, and oh yeah, we met her and the thing. And you go, wait, what? Did you say you were with Frank Sinatra?
He praised the relentless work ethic Clint instilled in him, something Scott still carries with pride. Reflecting on their relationship, Scott didn't shy away from acknowledging the difficult moments, especially one that left a sharp sting. In 2014, when Clint was directing the hit war drama American Sniper, Scott auditioned for the role of Jeff Kyle, brother of the lead character Chris Kyle, played by Bradley Cooper. Despite Scott's hard work and hopes, the role went to Australian actor Keir O'Donnell. "I auditioned and didn't get the role," Scott admitted. But there was no bitterness in his voice. Instead, that rejection became fuel, pushing Scott to carve out his path away from his father's shadow. The following year, he landed the lead role in The Longest Ride 2015, a turning point that helped him gain recognition for his talent. From there, Scott took on bigger projects like Suicide Squad 2016, The Fate of the Furious 2017, and Pacific Rim, Uprising 2018. He worked hard to prove he wasn't just Clint Eastwood's son, but a rising star in his own right. Behind the scenes, Scott has also absorbed valuable lessons from watching Clint work. He once said, "If you're not creating your material, then you're just fighting for whatever's out there." That idea reflects Clint's early career, where he refused to simply wait around for roles. Instead, Clint watched, learned, and grew by spending long hours on set, soaking up every detail of filmmaking. Scott follows that same approach, making sure to be present on set, learning every step of the way. Despite the tough love and early distance, Scott makes it clear he wants to work with Clint again. Though they don't see each other every day, there's now a deeper, quieter bond between them.
How does it feel to finally put it out there for the world to see?
It's good. You know, sometimes you make a movie and things happen, the timing isn't right to release it, and you don't have it quite ready, and so it's great that it is now, and that we got all these incredible collaborations with Snoop.
A connection built on mutual respect, understanding, and shared experiences. And even though Clint once left Scott's birth certificate blank, he never left him behind. Their relationship may never have been perfect, but it's real. And sometimes, that's more powerful than any Hollywood story you've ever heard or imagined before. But what do you think about this complicated father-son bond? Is it a tough love, true respect, or something else? We'd like to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content.